Welcome to CARICOMP Insider, where high-tech facial recognition meets real-world intelligence.
A biometric door scans your face and scores the match at 87 out of 100. Should it open? The answer has nothing to do with the camera. It depends entirely on a single hidden number that someone, a technician, an installer, maybe a sales rep, dialed into the system before you ever walked up to it. That number is called the threshold, and it controls every biometric door, turnstile, and gate you've ever walked through. If you've unlocked your phone with your face this morning, a version of this number already made a decision about you. For security teams choosing these systems, getting the threshold wrong means either locking out your own employees dozens of times a day or quietly letting strangers walk in. For the rest of us, it means the system protecting your office, your kid's school, or your apartment lobby might be far less reliable than anyone told you. And honestly, that's a little unsettling. But once you understand how this one setting works, you'll know more than most people who actually buy these systems. So what is a threshold, and why does moving it one direction make everything else worse? When a biometric system scans your face, it doesn't see you the way a person does. It converts your features into a mathematical template, basically a numerical map of your face, and compares that map against the one it stored when you first enrolled. The system spits out a similarity score. Maybe it's 0.87 on a 0 to 1 scale. Now the system has to decide, is 0.87 close enough? The threshold is the cutoff line. Anything above it, the door opens. Anything below, you're denied. Picture a security guard at a nightclub checking IDs. If he demands the photo match the person perfectly, same lighting, same expression, same angle, nobody gets in. Even people who've just aged a little since their photo get turned away. But if he relaxes the standards so anyone who looks roughly like their photo gets through, eventually someone hands him a cousin's ID and walks right past. The guard's eyesight didn't change. Only his standard did. That's exactly what happens when an engineer adjusts a biometric threshold. This creates a trade-off that you literally cannot escape with a single sensor. The industry measures it with two error rates. The first is the false accept rate, how often the system lets in someone who shouldn't be there. The second is the false reject rate, how often it locks out someone who belongs. They sit on opposite ends of a seesaw. Push one down, the other rises. If you crank the threshold up to demand near-perfect matches, false accepts drop to almost 0. Great for security, but now authorized people are getting rejected constantly because their hair changed, the lighting shifted, or they're wearing glasses they didn't have on enrollment day. Lower the threshold for convenience, and imposters start finding a path in. There's a benchmark the industry uses to evaluate this balance. It's called the equal error rate, or EER. That's the point where false accepts and false rejects are exactly equal. A lower EER means the system manages both types of mistakes more effectively. But no real-world deployment actually operates at the EER. A hospital might tolerate more false rejects to keep unauthorized people out of a pharmacy. A corporate lobby might accept a slightly higher imposter risk to stop employees from queuing up every morning. The threshold gets tuned to the building's priorities, not to some ideal number on a spec sheet. An environment makes this harder than it sounds. Dirt on the sensor, moisture in the air, dim lighting, even temperature swings. All of these degrade the quality of the scan before the algorithm ever runs its comparison. A legitimate employee standing in a shadow might produce a score of 0.75 instead of 0.87, and the system rejects them. Not because the algorithm failed, because the capture conditions shifted the score below a threshold that was set on a sunny Tuesday during installation. For anyone who's been locked out of their own building and thought the system was broken, it probably wasn't. The threshold just wasn't calibrated for a rainy Monday. So is there any way to beat this seesaw? Actually, yes. Multimodal systems, ones that combine face recognition with a second biometric like a fingerprint, can push both error rates down at the same time. The numbers are striking. At a false accept rate of just 0.1%, a face-only system had a false reject rate of over 42%. That means it was turning away nearly half of authorized users. A multimodal system at the same false accept rate brought false rejections down to 4.4%. That's roughly a tenfold improvement, not from a better camera, but from combining two types of evidence. One more layer sits between the match score and the door actually opening, and most people don't even know it exists. It's called liveness detection, or presentation attack detection. This is the gate that checks whether the face in front of the sensor is a real, live human being. Not a printed photo, not a video playing on a phone screen, not a 3D mask. Those are all real attack methods, by the way. According to NIST, which evaluated 82 passive liveness detection algorithms, the top-performing algorithm achieved something remarkable. In NIST's convenience category, where the system was required to accept 99% of real users, that algorithm blocked 100% of spoofing attempts across 3 different video-based attack tests. Every single fake was caught while barely inconveniencing anyone legitimate. That's a separate decision layer from the match score, and without it, a perfect threshold setting still can't stop someone holding up a photograph. So when a vendor tells you their system is 98 or 99% accurate, that number is almost meaningless on its own. It was measured at one specific threshold, under controlled conditions, without telling you which type of error they optimized for, or whether liveness detection was even part of the test. Accuracy is a physics measurement. Reliability is a business decision hiding behind a threshold dial. So remember 3 things. Every biometric system has a hidden threshold that decides who gets in and who doesn't. Turning that threshold in one direction always makes the opposite error worse, unless you combine multiple biometrics. And a match score alone can't protect you if the system isn't also checking whether the face it sees is actually real. Whether you're evaluating these systems for a building or just walking past one every morning, that single hidden number shapes your experience more than any camera ever will. The full story's in the description if you want the deep dive.
Now you know something most people in this industry don't. Use it. And when you're ready to put it to work, caracomp.com. We'll see you tomorrow.